Good to have you here with us this evening. So I just did a brief introduction. I told people that you are special to some of us because I've known you. We got to meet on the cyberspace here. We've done a lot together, and you are in the US, and you've decided that you want to come back home and represent your people. But before we go into that discussion, I would love you to tell us about yourself and your experience or what happened to you. Because when I put it up, a lot of people are like, wow, he's living with disability, he's even writing and all of that. Can you tell us the whole thing that happened to you, how you became like this? How has life been with you? Studies. I remember you also went into sports. You also went into politics in the US. You also contested an election in Plateau State. I think somebody wrote it there. So can you just tell us about yourself before we go down to the crux of our discussion, which is you coming back home to contest the Vandeikya Federal House of Reps in 2027 and what we should be expecting from you. So can you roll us down history lane, please? Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Okankuru. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you to your viewers, those who have taken time to actually view this live right now. I do not take your dedication for granted. I was born in Plateau State. My dad is Gav from Bajov, Umbawa, in Konsha local government area of Benue State. And my dad left home at the age of 16. This was in the 1940s, and he took a trip down to Boko. From my understanding, he went by foot and in search of a greater pastures. And there he met my mom, who is from Bagen in Buruku local government area of Benue State. And so they sojourned to Jos in search of greater pastures. And I always say that my father is the foundation of whatever I became in life, because on his shoulder I stood. My dad worked for the University of Jos as a security guard. That was the place where I was enrolled in school at the Unijos Staff School. In those days, that was one of the best schools in Plateau State. And a lot of prominent people, some from Benue State as well, whose children attended school there. And so while I was in school, I was an athlete. I was the school goalkeeper at the age of 11. My elder brother, John Lanshima, was also the goalkeeper. So he was in class 6 while I was in class 5. And when he transitioned out to secondary school, I stepped in as the school goalkeeper in 1989. As an athlete, I enjoyed athletics. I was a high jumper. I hated running. Running was the worst thing you ever asked me to do. But a high jumper, I never got to represent my house because there was always somebody better than me. So in 1989, it was my turn. I felt like it was the year for me to shine. In addition to being a school goalkeeper, that was a passion that I had. So we used to go out and practice every Friday in preparation for the inter-house sports competition. And so on a fateful Friday, October 13th, 1989, I went out as usual to practice. And I was out there trying to set up my equipment. I was holding a high jump crossbar in my hands, and it inadvertently touched the high tension power line, and I was electrocuted. And so some would say Nigeria happened to me, because in advanced countries, when things like that happen, the authorities call 911, the ambulance comes, they rush you to the hospital. For me personally, I was picked up, and luckily, one of the teachers had a vehicle. So I was rushed to the hospital in my teacher's vehicle, and the doctors did everything they could to save my life. And my arms had been completely damaged. They had removed several veins, and blood was not flowing. And so gangrene has set in. and it was creeping up very fast. And so they made a decision to amputate my hands in order to save my life. And so that was the, the history behind my accident. And you know, Nigeria is a kind of a place where when you begin to face adversity in that way, we are not prepared and to take care of our own. So I was in class 6 at the age of 13. So about 12, I was 12 years and 9 months when this happened. And there was no rehabilitation in place. I know that there was a discussion between my family and the University of Jos on rehabilitation, on trying to get me artificial limbs that I could use and become more functional. And that fell through. My dad had pursued that for several years, and nobody was interested in making sure that happened because I was not a son of a prominent man. I was a son of a security guard. So I stayed home for 5 years. My family, my mom, dad, my brothers and sisters, and my friends, they all came together to support me. They will bathe me, they will dress me, they will feed me, they will do different things in order to make sure that I was okay. And luckily, I was okay. I had to believe in God. I trusted that no matter what was going to happen with me, at the end of the day, if I remain steadfast, I will be successful. So after 5 years of staying at home and depending on others, I decided to take a leap of faith and do something with my life. I began to learn how to eat myself. I learned how to bathe myself. I learned how to dress myself. I learned how to write. And I decided to go back to school. And again, that was where Nigeria happened to me again. I was in Boko in 1994 when I was trying to get admission into schools and no school would accept me. So I had to go back to Jos to say, okay, this is where it happened. So maybe I would get lucky and get in school. And same thing happened in Jos, where most schools will turn a blind eye and they will look at me with my disability and I'll be like, we don't want you here. I mean, it was like I was a pariah. So I eventually got into a school, a government secondary school, Gengari. I always say that they gave me something, they gave me hope when others would not. I began to go to school every day. And in addition, I went back to the stadium and began to train to be an athlete. At the time, it was just for fun. I just wanted to keep busy during the day, and then in the afternoon I would go to school. And eventually, I was introduced to the Paralympic sports. There was a gentleman by the name of Ajibola Adeoye, late Ajibola Adeoye. He had the world record in the 100 and 200 meters for amputees, upper body amputees. And when I heard about his story and what he accomplished in 1992 in Barcelona, and then in the US in 1996, I was inspired, and I was like, wow, if he could do that, so could I. So I started training for the long distance and eventually down to the sprints. And I went to school at the same time. So by the time I was in JS3, I represented Plateau State in Makurdi in 1995 for the National Sports Festival. And there I won 2 gold medals in the 400 meters and then the 800 meters. And that was when I was discovered. I went back to Plateau State. They offered to give me a job as an athlete, but because of the civil service rules in Nigeria, you cannot be in school and be given unemployment. So in JS3, at the age of 21, I chose to drop out of school so I could accept employment because I needed the money to take care of myself and my family. So I know I've rambled a lot, but I guess I will stop there. If you have any other further questions, I will answer and elaborate on them.
Okay, so how did your journey to the US began? How did it begin? How did you find yourself in the US, and at the same time you were you were now a councilman in the United States of America, you elected as the Louisville councilman in the United States of America. So how did that all go? How did you start? How did you leave Nigeria for the US, and then you became a congressperson at the same time?
Okay, so when I became an athlete, and everything that I do, I strive to excel at it. I try to be the best that I can be. So when I started training, my goal was to represent Nigeria at the Paralympic Games. So 96 had come and gone, and what I had to do was I had to get ready for 2000 Paralympic Games in Australia, Sydney, Australia. So I was training hard for that, and I knew that if I had the opportunity to represent Nigeria, I was going to stay abroad. I had no plans of coming back to Nigeria. I wanted to get the best education, get the best life, and Nigeria could not offer that to me. So I met a lot of friends and I talked to them about my intentions. And I remember most of my friends told me it was just not possible. I inquired about getting a scholarship to the US, and I was told that there was no way that I would get a scholarship to the US because no school was going to give somebody with a disability, not to mention my type of disability, a scholarship as a student athlete. And at that time, what they were saying was true. It was practically impossible. It had never happened before. And so I kept my head up and I continued training. In 1999, I represented Nigeria at the All African Games in Australia and in South Africa, Johannesburg. Then I qualified for the Paralympic Games in Australia. So when I got to Australia, I competed in the 200 meters and the 400 meters. And there I was able to set two world records, one in the 200 meters and the other one in the 400 meters. And when I was done with that, I knew that whatever I set my sights on, I was going to be able to accomplish it. So I picked myself up and I walked into the US camp and I asked for a coach. I didn't know who I was looking for, but I said, hey, I'm here to look for a college coach. And they asked me what I wanted with a college coach, and I explained to them what my mission was. And I was introduced to a coach by the name Jim Vago, and he was the head coach at a school in Louisville, Kentucky. I know it's spelled Louisville, but it's actually pronounced Louisville. It's named after King Louis of France. And so I told him about my intentions to come to the States and study. He asked what my performance were. I had informed him about what I had done. He looked at my times. I had run 82 seconds in the 200 meters and 52.72 seconds in the 400 meters. He said, he exclaimed and said my times were better than all his athletes that he currently had. As a result, he was going to give me a scholarship. So they extended a scholarship to me to come to the US and study. So that's how I made my way to the US. The scholarship was given to me in 2000, but I didn't get to the US because of some other things I had to take care of until 2002. So while I was in the US, I was very involved in the community. Did a lot of work, voluntary work. I did the best that I could to excel both academically and athletically. As an athlete, I was ranked number 1 in the GLVC in 2004. And when I said ranked, I was not competing with people with a disability. I was competing against able-bodied athletes who had 2 hands and 2 legs, and I had to make sure that I trained myself to be up to par or better than them. And so I was ranked number 1 in my conference in 2004 in that regards. And so the community saw what I could do. I was featured in several publications as well as in the media based on my performance and what I was able to accomplish. In 2004, I was nominated for the Laureus World Sports Award. In fact, I was the first Nigerian ever to be nominated for that award. And I know several other athletes like Blaise Okabare has been nominated for that as well. But I did what I could do to make sure that I excelled in everything I did. And so when I graduated, I stayed back, married back here, and I continued my life back here. And I had no intentions of going back to Nigeria because Nigeria had happened to me, and I had an opportunity to escape Nigeria. And so I became involved in politics here in 2008 during Obama's era, and was involved with the mayoral campaign. I helped my friend Greg Fisher get elected in 2010 and then 2014. So I became entrenched in the political system here in Louisville, Kentucky. So in 2017, I became a Metro Councilman for District 21, which is the most diverse district in the entire state of Kentucky. And so my passion has always been public service. And I've always loved to give back to my community. I just finally realized that if I could accomplish all this here, then why not? Why not back home in Nigeria? I have the experience of being deprived of so many things in the country. I have the experience of understanding how systems work. And so that is the reason I chose that I will be back in Nigeria to contribute my quota and then my experience to developing our nation. I know we have a lot of people who aspire to be leaders, but very few understand how systems work. And it's more of a science than an art. And there are things that we need to put in place to make sure that we provide the best service for our communities.
Oh, thank you so much. Very interesting listening to you. And I'm sure there's a message for people who feel that because of the condition they found themselves, they can never pick up the pieces any longer. I'm happy how you're strong enough, even when your friends told you that there's no way you're going to leave for the US, and the leap of faith you took. So even approach the college coach and how you got your scholarship is something that anybody should hold very strong and feel like, oh, let his story inspire me. And I'm happy to hear that. So now to the question, how did you come about making up your mind to represent the Vandeikya constituents at the House of Reps? What do you think you could do differently if you are given the opportunity?
Well, there are a lot of things that could be done differently. Like I said, I had no intention of ever going back to Nigeria. I had no intentions of going back to contribute. But I realized that we are way behind. If you look at Jechira as a subsection of the TIF community, you will know, you will see that there are so many ways that we are lacking. We have a lot of individuals who are well-to-do, who are trained, who are experts in their fields, who have the resources to contribute to developing our community. But we have not been able to do that. We're not able to pull together what it takes to develop the constituency. Vandeikya and Konshia are way behind other local governments in terms of development. And we're endowed with so many things in terms of talent, the intellect, in terms of agriculture, in terms of natural resources. We have all of that. But when you work in a constituency, it's not about the number of textbooks that you give out to your constituents or the number of bikes that you give out. But there's a lot more that you can do in developing your community. There's a lot more that you can do in terms of bringing infrastructure into your community. As a metro councilman, I was able to build roads. That's what a councillor does. As somebody who is a representative at the national level, you can influence federal legislation. But if you go through Vandeikya or you go through Konshia, there is no federal presence in whatever way, shape, or form. The roads are dilapidated. These are things that could be done if we have individuals who actually understood what it means to insert those into the budget and actually lobby for them and talk to your colleagues on how you can make those things happen. We have no federal educational institutions. We have no federal hospitals. So we have no industry. So we are way behind, and I know that it's my goal is not to criticize those who've been there, because no, some have done some good work. Mr. Hembe did the best that he could, but is that the best that we could do? Personally, the answer is no. I know the Nigerian system is a little bit different, but when you look at people doing similar things across the country, then you understand that it could be done. For instance, the former Jos University Hospital, JUTH in Jos, has been transformed by legislation into an orthopedic hospital. There are things that people in the legislature in Nigeria are currently doing for their constituencies by legislation. But we have a myopic thought that representation, it's about handing out laptops or handing out bikes or whatever we can give out. Oh, that's all good and fine. But what about influencing capital projects into our communities? And that's an area that I believe we're lacking, and it's something I believe I can do extremely well.
Well, I think I love your replies, and I feel if I had my own powers, I will hand over the ticket to you. If I have my own powers in quotes, because I know that you've stayed over there in the US, you know how things work there. You've dealt with a system that works for almost and for everybody out there. So bringing that experience back home won't be anything different. I'm happy for you. I think you're coming in to give everybody their run. For everybody their run for the money. They run for their money, and I hope the people see for themselves, because I think 2027 is going to be a game changer. Nigerians are getting wiser every day. People have decided that, look, even me, I said it in one of my posts. I said, I am not going to be sitting on the fence any longer because we have decided to sit on the fence. We have kept quiet for so long, and because of that, in the past, we've elected mediocres, serious mediocres, to handle positions that ordinarily shouldn't have been given to them. So I hope and I feel that everything should go your way. And let me also ask, well, is it too early to ask which platform you are coming on?
No, it's not. I am a member of the All Progressive Congress, and I am going to be contesting under the platform of APC.
Okay. Okay, so you are a member of the Broom Party.
Yes, I am. Proudly so.
Okay, welcome back to Nigeria. Okay, well, okay, now you come back to the States, and I know that you'll be coming back anytime soon to launch your campaign formally and to start consultation or speak to your people and all of that. So I'm happy for you. Like I said, I'm wishing you all the best. I sure know that you already know candidates, or maybe you've heard hints of candidates that will be standing alongside you, that will also be contesting. I wish you guys all the best. And for me, I'll pray for you because I have been doing a lot with people living with disability. And it feels like I'm part of their community because I do a lot with them. And even you, I've done 1 or 2 interventions with you. You sponsored 1 or 2 interventions too from people living with disability and a lot of other things. So I know your heart. I know what you can do. So I can only wish you well. And I pray that God should give you that zeal, should give you that success to lead people. Constitution deserves better. Vandeikya Constitution deserves better. And again and again, I wish you all the best. So I don't know if you have any, I think you should have something to tell people who are living with disability. That's one. To also tell people who feel that they've lost hope. No, their dreams practically dead because of the kind of situation they are going through already. But listening to your story, I think I can pick, people are already saying that they can pick something from it. So what advice would you have for such people? And what advice in general do you have for your constituents before we call it a day?
So to people living with disability, I would say I feel you. I understand you. I understand your pain. We live in a society where you live with disability in Nigeria, we are abandoned to basically rely on others for the rest of our lives. We can only make a living when you sit for arms. I know I was there. Even when I was knocking on those doors, the doors were not open for me. I'll tell you a quick story. In 1994, I learned that the first lady of Nigeria, Miriam Abacha, was going to be in Jos. At the time, I was looking for a school to go to. I had no idea where to go. I met her at the School of the Blind in Jos. I explained myself to her. I told her what I wanted was education. She told me, or she handed me over to the principal of the school and said that she would wait, she would get back to me. And I'm still waiting. That is the system that we have in Nigeria. Even the most powerful in Nigeria do not care about those with disabilities. They drive by you, they look at you, they don't care about you. The system is not designed for you, and nobody wants to change it. I pray to do that. I pray to create a system that favors you, because I lived in one that works. And I want to urge you not to give up. It's all about our mindset. Think critically about where you are and think about where you want to go to. And with the grace of God and with support, but it's one of the things that we'll be able to do will get you to where you need to be. It's not time to give up. It's time to be strong. And to those who are inspired by my story, I want you to understand that I am not the only one with a story like this. There are so many of us that Nigeria has given up on. You might be there yourself right now, but I want you to never think about giving up. Because if you continue to work hard, even those who doubt you will want to one day sing your praise. I have been doubted for my entire life. I have been doubted by so many people who feel like I can't accomplish anything. There are so many who will look at you and they will judge you based on the way you look, because of where you come from, your background, what your last name is. My last name is Lanshima. Nobody knows me or knows my dad. My dad was a security guard, like I said, at the University of Jos. But if I was able to overcome that which where they put my last name, if I was able to become everything I have become, in spite of my disability, in spite of my last name, in spite of my lack of connections, then so can you. You can do anything you want to do. Just set your sight on it and work hard on it. And I know there are so many people who, even going through the comments, who are saying, maybe I don't understand how politics works in Nigeria or how the system works in Nigeria. I want to tell you to stop doubting. We cannot give up on our country. Nigeria is the only country that we have. I never thought I would be saying this, but I'm saying it now. Both my parents are dead now. They are buried in my village. And I hope that when I'm gone, I'll be buried in my village. I have a daughter. I hope to have more kids. They will be going back to the village. Nigeria is the only country that we have, and we cannot give up on it. Whatever it takes, we need to do to ensure that we become the best country in the world. We have everything it takes. And so it's time for us to stop being naysayers. It's time for us to stop being pessimistic about life itself. Look at the brighter side of things. And I believe that's one reason why I'm coming home. I'm coming home because Nigeria needs hope. And I'm bringing that hope to Nigeria. Nigeria should be able to see that we can do greater things in spite of our situation. Mm-hmm. This has been my story. Nigeria has happened to me way too many times than I can count. But if I've been able to overcome it, so can you. So yeah, like you said, this election is going to be a game changer. I believe that I have what it takes. I have the experience to be able to infuse one or two things into the system in Nigeria. Nigeria deserves better. Vandeikya and Constituency can do better. And I hope that I get the opportunity to prove that we have what it takes to transform Nigeria into the country that it needs to be.
Thank you so much. And somebody just chatted me inbox and is saying, can you tell Mr. Lanshima to stand up? That they want to just see me food. Another person is also saying, does he cook himself? Does he know how to cook? Well, let me answer that before you answer it. I think I have one of your videos where you were cooking in the kitchen, right? And you were doing it all by yourself. So is that something like that?
First of all, I'm going to stand up because they want me to stand up. I listen to the voices of the masses. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Respectfully so. Okay.
Can you guys see? That's Mr. Lanshima.
Well, I hope you can see. It's no magic trick, okay?
That's wonderful. So
And yeah, the individual
Something about
asking if I can cook. Yes, I cook. I learned how to cook when I moved to the United States. I cook some really good pounded yam. We call it yam. So I have to do the turning, and I make some killer egusi soup. So yeah, if you want to have some of my food, maybe when I'm home in December, we could have get together in Boko or Makodi and be able to make some
your cooking skills.
delicious food for you.
So thank you so much, Mr. Vitalis Lanshima. God bless you. It was a wonderful time with you. I wish you all the best, and I'm hoping to see you very soon. God bless you, and have a wonderful night rest.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much, Mr. Okankuru, and thanks for everything that you do for our community. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you again.
All right. See you soon.